In the mean stack, you have M for MongoDB, E for Express.js, A for AngularJS, and N for Node.js. So MongoDB is going to be your database. Express is going to be a web framework for serving up the data. AngularJS is going to be your front-end stuff that loads in and displays the data. And Node is just the platform that Express runs on. Once you've installed MongoDB, simply open up your shell and type MongoD, hit enter, and we'll leave MongoDB running in the background. Now in WebStorm, from a blank project, I'll just create a new directory. We'll call this server. We'll create a JavaScript file and call it server.js. And from here, I'm going to use a package called Mongoose.js. So I'll say npm install mongoose save dev, hit enter, and let that install. Mongoose is a popular library for dealing with object modeling in MongoDB. So I'll simply say require mongoose and then mongoose.connect. And you'll see that we don't get autocomplete from mongoose.connect. So I'll go into my preferences under JavaScript, libraries, and say download. And under TypeScript community stubs, if you search for Mongoose, you can download and install it. I already have it installed, so I'll just check this box for Mongoose. And once I have that checked, I can get autocomplete for connect. And I'll connect to MongoDB //localhost /JetBrains. Then I'll create a Mongoose model. We'll call this product. And we'll just say our product has a name, which is a string, and introduce a variable for product. Then we can say new product and pass in name, which can be WebStorm. Now that we've created that new product, we can say product.save and then function, and it takes an error. And we'll say if it errored out, then log failed. If not, then log saved. Then I can easily run this by simply right-clicking and saying run, and you can see it's saved. Now there's actually a really cool plugin under preferences, scroll all the way down to plugins, then browse repositories and search for Mongo. And once you install this plugin, you'll have a tool window which you can open for a Mongo Explorer, and we'll set up a server. So the path to our Mongo executable we'll find just by opening a terminal, open a new tab, and we'll say which Mongo, which will print that out. And so we'll do a PB copy to put it into the clipboard. We'll just paste it there, say test, and it looks like it passed. And then I'll come down and click the plus button to add a Mongo server, which we'll call JetBrains. And the database is JetBrains. We'll test the connection, and that passed. So we should be good to go. Hit OK and apply. And you can see we have JetBrains. And if I refresh, we have JetBrains products, which I can open and see that WebStorm was successfully stored inside of MongoDB. We'll come back to this more later. For now, let's move on to installing Express. So npm install Express and let that install. Then we can simply require Express, create our Express app, set up a route to fetch our product, so app get. Then in the callback, we can use product to find, check for an error and return the products, and simply say response send products. Then we will app listen, and you can see we're not getting autocomplete on like listen and get. So we can also do the same JavaScript library trick. I have it installed already, so we'll use Express and see these resolve now. So I'll say listen, port 3000. Then I can rerun my application. So I'm gonna say just stop and rerun this. Then in our browser, if I open up localhost 3000, you can see it returns an array with that WebStorm product inside of it. So now that we have Mongo and Express set up, we can set up some AngularJS stuff. So public, and we'll create an index file. And I'll need AngularJS, so I'm going to cd into my public directory and bower install Angular to grab AngularJS from bower. Then I'll go ahead and include the Angular script here, so script source, and search for Angular. We'll add the ng app tag and we get autocomplete for that. And we'll just check that binding is working, so we'll do 2 + 2. And if I run this now, I should get 4. Let's go ahead and create the most basic of Angular apps. So we'll create a new JavaScript file, just call it app.js. And we'll say Angular module. We'll call our app JetBrains. And call this JetBrains, so that in our JetBrains controller, we'll have an app controller that takes the HTTP service to load in our data from our local host. So on success, take the products and assign them to, say if our app is this, app products equals products. Then in our index, we'll say the ng app is called JetBrains, and we'll do a controller, which is our app controller as app. Then we'll loop through, so ng repeat our app products, and say each of our product and app products should display the product.name. So if I refresh now, we will get a bit of an error, and that's because our server isn't using proper cross-origin stuff. So we'll load in and install npm install cores, and we'll say require cores, and we'll say app use cores. Then I'll restart my server, and then when I refresh again, you can see it loads in WebStorm as the product. So now it's time to go the other way, so we can post a new product, and we'll just create an input with an ng model of app.newProduct. And then when we click on this button with an ng click, we'll say app.saveProduct and pass in our app new product. And we'll say save product as the button, and we'll refresh, and you can see we have our UI here. So let's go ahead and wire up our app.saveProduct. And a little tip here, because we have something called save product open in another tab, if I hit Alt/, I can cycle through words that are open in other tabs. So I could do SP for save product and Alt/, equals function and new product and /. Then http.post, and then I'm just going to post this same URL. So we'll extract this and just call it URL. Bring that up to the top, just organize it. We'll say URL plus add. Then we'll pass in a product with a name of new product. Then on success, let's just go ahead and call this again. So let's extract this into a method. We'll just call this load products. So we can say on success of posting, we want to reload our products. Now we need to wire up our server for this all to work. So it's basically just app post to match the add, and then request response. And from our request.body.name, which is again that new product that we're passing in, we'll just call that our name and create a new product with a name of name. Then we can say product save like we did before, and simply as our response, just send nothing. Now trying to parse this out the first time wouldn't work without another library called npm body parser. So I'll go ahead and say require body parser, and we'll call this body parser, and app use body parser, and then that'll parse the body just fine. So if I rerun this, and refresh my page, I can create a new project, which I'll call RubyMine, hit save product, and you can see that it saved it and reloaded everything. So we'll create another product, call it PyCharm, hit save product, another one called IntelliJ, hit save product. And you can see we're doing a full round trip from loading the data to adding new data and loading that data again. Now where WebStorm gets really cool is that I can put a breakpoint here and I can put a breakpoint here so that when I start a new debug session with my server, and then I'll debug this page as well. Once I try and add a new product like app code, I can hit save product. You can see I can inspect new product as app code in my client-side JavaScript, then hit run. Then it'll continue over to the back-end JavaScript where I can go ahead and step to the next line and see that the name is app code. Let it resume. And then you can see app code is finally added. So you can debug the full stack while you're testing out your project, debugging your Angular code and your Node code at the exact same time. The last trick I want to show involves the Mongo plugin again. So I'll open my Mongo Explorer, come into my products. Then I'll go ahead and find, let's find IntelliJ. I'll hit run. And you can play with a lot of other options for matching and sorting and all sorts of things here. And then I want to change IntelliJ to IntelliJ IDEA. Hit save. We'll hit refresh over here. You can see that we updated this to IntelliJ IDEA.